Hi, I'm Brandon. Welcome to my channel, Books in the Shire. It's that time of the month again. That sounds like I'm on my period. But it's a monthly reading wrap-up time, right? Yeah. I finally started reading again in August. I basically didn't read in June or July, like, at all because I was super busy with my old job and it just didn't happen. I might have read like a few pages here and there, but I really did not read. So I got back in the swing of things in August. I read a whole of 6 books, which is really good for me. Well, I wouldn't say really good. I think I can read 4 to 5 on average a month. So 6 is like a bit better than average. So yeah, I read some books and now it's time to talk about them because I read them and that's what a wrap-up video is. So let's just get into it so I don't keep rambling. The first book I finished in August was Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. This is a collection of short stories in the Lunar Chronicles series. I recently posted a video where I've read the entire Lunar Chronicles series. I talked about my feelings for it. So I won't really talk too much about this book. But I will say I didn't give this book a rating because I didn't feel like my rating would be justified in that I enjoyed it, but like I don't think I'm really a short stories person. Like if a short story is like 150 pages or more, I think I'll enjoy it, but anything shorter than that, I think it's just not for me because I want more context. And like these ones, a lot of them were just backstory to stuff we already knew, so it wasn't like giving me any new insight, but I just didn't feel like I should rate it because I didn't feel like it did anything for me personally, where some people might really enjoy the short stories. So that was this book. I started reading it in like May, so it took me several months to finish, even though it's like 300 pages or less. So, it's like 375 pages, so not too bad, but yeah, I read this book, or finished this book in August. The next book that I read was a reread, and that was The Infinity Courts by Kemi Dawn Bowman. I reread this because I think I originally read this book last year when it first came out, and I remember really enjoying it. And the second book recently came out, so I wanted to keep going with the series, but I genuinely didn't remember anything that happened in this. I know last year when I was reading it, I listened to it on audiobooks, so I wasn't always like in tune to it, so I think I like lost a lot of stuff. But I reread it, enjoyed it. There's definitely stuff that I didn't love about this, particularly I wish that there was more characterization with side characters, because it is all from the main character Nami's perspective. So I wish that there was more relationship building or characterization for other characters other than Nami, because I think that was really lacking. And that's weird for me to say because I'm not a character reader, I'm a plot reader. So the fact that I felt like the characters were lacking in this kind of tells me a bit more about the style of the book. So I hope that in the second one they go more into characterization. And not always focus on world building so much, because I would like that. Because you need good characters to still enjoy a book, okay? I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this. I gave this 4 stars. I don't think I said that. I gave it 4 stars, so it was good. I enjoyed it. But I just wish there was a bit more characterization from side characters, and I wish that we weren't always just stuck in Nami's head and her perspectives on everything, because I like understand the point of it, of you're supposed to be learning about the world with her, but sometimes it felt like the author wanted to give you more information but couldn't because it was from Nami's perspective. The third book I read in August was All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody and Christine Lynn Herman. This is the first book in a duology. I think this book came out last year. I don't remember. The second book just came out and I bought it because I wanted to keep going, but I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I think one of the biggest selling points of this was the atmosphere for me. I just really loved the world that they had created. It's literally like modern world, but I think the way they describe the world, the setting that they place the characters in is just really like fall aesthetic, fall ambiance. I don't know how you want to describe it, but I was loving it. So that was really good. That was like one of my favorite parts of this book, was the setting and like ambiance of everything. It was just very nice for me. I don't know how to describe it. It was just really good. And the characters in this, I did enjoy the characters. There were definitely moments where I wasn't loving all of them, but I think that's the point, so like that's okay. I'm gonna forgive that. Um, Particularly like Gavin's character. I think that's his name, right? I think his name is Gavin. We're gonna go with Gavin. I'm pretty sure it's Gavin. But Gavin's character, I really liked his character. And he would constantly fluctuate between like me liking him and me disliking him. And that was kind of refreshing because I feel like a lot of the times I'm like that dumb bitch who always chooses like the good characters. And it's like, not because I want to, it's just that's who I'm drawn to, I guess. But he was like one of the first characters where I was like, he's like a bad dude, but I really like him. And I feel like a lot of, not a lot, but some of his rationales are justified. So I really liked that about his character. It's definitely like a nice perspective to read from. Obviously the book, all of us villains, like they're meant to be portrayed as bad people. And I like that the authors never they never went too far in either direction. Does that make sense? So like when they're trying to show that the character is a bad person, they never went so far to be like, oh my god, they're a terrible human being, you have to dislike them because of X, Y, and Z. Like they actually proved why they were a bad person. Like there was a rationale behind it. And then when they're showing them being good people, like it's genuinely like they're just being good. It's never like an in-your-face goody two-shoes person. So I think the balance was like really good between that. That's what I really enjoyed about this. I just really loved this. It was really freaking good. The next book that I read was The Secrets of Disneyland by Dinah Williams. I genuinely just picked this up on a whim at work and read it in like 30 minutes because it was just little quick facts about Disneyland, and I had a good time. And yes, I'm counting it towards my Goodreads goal because it was like 150 pages of me reading. So that counts. It was fun. It was good. I'm gonna be honest, it was a lot of stuff I already knew, but that wasn't a big deal. So I had a good time. I thought it was fun. Yeah, if you like Disneyland, I guess read it. I don't know, I didn't rate it because it's a nonfiction about Disneyland, so I just didn't feel like I needed to rate that. But yeah, it was a fun, quick read. Next, I read This Vicious Grace by Emily Teed. I don't know how to say that last name, sorry. But this is a YA fantasy. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. While I was reading this book, I had a good time. But every time I stopped reading and like actually started to reflect on it, I was like, it was okay. Like it's by no means bad, but I just wasn't totally loving a lot of it. So basically the main character, I think her name's Alessa. Yeah. The main character, Alessa, is like the chosen one. And she can't touch people without killing them, basically. Think Rogue in X-Men. She can basically absorb people's powers by touching them, but if she holds on too long, she kills them. She's literally Rogue, so if you know X-Men, she's Rogue. But, so she can't touch people except for her, like, Fonte, which is, like, her chosen partner, whatever. It could be, like, a guy, a girl, whatever. But, like, her Fonte is, like, someone who has powers, who's chosen, and, like, the two of them are chosen to, like, protect this city, town, island from this, like, evil thing. Yeah, that's a good synopsis, I guess. But I thought that premise was really interesting, that like she basically is Rogue, she can't touch people without killing them, and the first chapter literally opens with her at the funeral for her third Fonte. And like that was very intriguing. I was like, oh damn, she's already killed 3 people, good for her. I mean, do what you want, but like she didn't kill them purposely, but she held on too long so it killed them. But then I feel like this whole book was literally just build up to the second book. It was a lot of nothing happening, except for learning more about Alessa and like her relationship with the love interest. So it didn't really do much for me. When I was reading it, I was really enjoying it. And I liked the story, I liked the characters' relationships, but then once I was like looking back on it after I had read a part, I was like, wow, that was fun. Like, I feel like I didn't get anything from the story. Like, I feel like nothing progressed, nothing happened to make it seem like, okay, we're getting somewhere in the story. Because, like, you know this big event is going to happen, and you're like, okay, So she doesn't even have a Fonte yet. How is she gonna defeat the big bad villain when she doesn't even have Fonte? I think it was too focused on the romance, which is like fine and dandy. If you're a fantasy romance reader, I would definitely recommend this for you. I'm not though. I like fantasy with light romance in it. I don't want the whole book to be about the romance, and that's what this was. So for me, it wasn't my favorite. Okay, this is full on a spoiler, so skip if you don't want to hear it. But I was excited when Dante, the love interest, died, because I was like, I really hope they try and actually do something different for once in a YA. No, he's back. He's fine. So that was fun. It's like I didn't want Dante to die, but I liked that he died. I thought it was like well done that he died. But then he got brought back to life, and that made me upsetty because why can't characters just die? Why is this gotta be like, I don't know, why people keep coming back? Just die. But another thing I disliked was that I really wanted to get to know the other Fontes, but you really didn't get to know them until 3/4 of the way through the book, even though they were there since like page like 150 or 200. So it was like, why aren't we getting to know these characters? I understand they're scared of Alessa, the main character, but they should still be present, especially given their storyline throughout the book. Is like, this relationship should have been building way before it actually started. So that was something that kind of bothered me. I wish that it had focused a bit more on side characters and their relationships with Alessa, the main character, but that's okay, I guess. I think I'm still going to keep going with this series just because I want to know what happens, but I don't think it's going to be a top priority, and if I don't like the second book, I'm just going to kind of give up because it's well written, it's fine. The romance was enjoyable, but like I said, I'm not a fantasy romance reader. I want more fantasy than romance, and this is more romance than fantasy. The last book that I read in August was Wires and Nerve, Volume 1 by Marissa Meyer. This is a Lunar Chronicles graphic novel? I don't know. So it follows Aiko from the Lunar Chronicles, basically hunting the little, not werewolf, the wolf hybrid things that Levana created in the series. So I never intended to pick up these graphic novels just because I was like, I'll read the Lunar Chronicles, I'll be done with it, and we'll be good. But my library happened to have them, so I said, why not? Let's pick them up. I still haven't read the second one, but I read the first one at least, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. Definitely was build up, I guess. So there's two, but I feel like the first volume is like a lot of build up for what's going to happen in the second volume. Can't 100% say because I haven't read the second volume, but that's kind of what it felt like, was laying the groundwork, kind of getting you established in post-winter world, if that makes sense. So I didn't dislike it by any means. I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars, but I do think that similar to Stars Above, it's just not a story that I needed. I had a good time. I enjoyed some of the artwork, so that was nice. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to read the second one, but I don't think I'll ever revisit or buy these to have my own copies of because they're fine. They're not bad by any means, but they're just not, where the first one at least is not my favorite. I'm basically trying to say that I enjoyed this, but I don't think I'd ever reread it, which is a-okay. Those are all the books that I finished in August. I had a pretty good reading month. I enjoyed, I would say, most of them. None of them were bad by any means, so that's a plus, but some of them weren't my fave either, which is a-okay. But definitely my favorite was the Disneyland. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't. I don't know what my favorite would be. Probably All of Us Villains. All of Us Villains was my favorite of the month because it was just so good. Prepped me for spooky season. A1 top tier. Definitely recommend it if you haven't read it. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.